Hi, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Autism Our Story podcast. Today, I have the opportunity to chat with Annika Cioffi. She is the mother of Alexi, who is a non-speaking autistic young lady who communicates through pointing to letters on a letterboard. Today, we're going to be talking all about Alexi's spelling journey, and I have sent some questions over for Alexi to answer and be a part of this interview. And so you will hear her questions answered through a recording. Annika and Alexi, thank you so much for joining me. I'm so excited to chat with you guys and get to know you better. Annika, I'm going to give you the opportunity to introduce yourself, and we'll start from there.
So my name is Annika Cioffi, and my daughter is 19 and a half, almost 20. And her name is Alexi, and she's behind me. She was diagnosed at like 2. And so I've been home with her on and off. I had some part-time positions during the day, but I've been home with her, basically her caretaker. She has autism and she has epilepsy as well, which developed later. And that's about it. Yeah.
All right. I'm so excited to have you guys and to talk more and get to know you guys. So yes, I wanted to just get into it and hear more about your spelling journey with Alexi. So how did you guys find out about spelling, and how old was Alexi when she started spelling?
So I saw a movie a million years ago called A Mother's Courage. That was the first time I ever saw anything about spelling, but it was definitely nothing that I started doing at that time. So really, it was during the pandemic when I first heard about it for real. I saw the book by J.B. Hanley. The teaser for that book came up on my Facebook, and I was like, I wonder if that's anything to do with what I think that woman did in A Mother's Courage. And so I ordered the book, and the teaser was smart because it didn't really let you know what was happening. He just said something worked really well for his son. So I got the book and I sat down on the couch. I started reading it right away. And I had actually sort of been investigating spelling around that time. So that was during the pandemic. And then she was 15 at that time. And then we started doing RPM virtually because nothing was open.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when we started. So she was basically 15, 16 years old.
Okay. And so how did that work for you? So you were virtually the whole time, or did it come to a time when you were finally able to meet with a practitioner in person?
Yeah, so it was virtual. I looked back in my notes. I think it was almost a year until she opened. So it was very hard at the beginning because she was very dysregulated when we first started. So what we ended up doing, because she had virtual school for that whole time, and then now virtual sessions, was we ended up experimenting with the practitioner, and she would have me write the lesson, because in RPM you write the lesson. So she would have me write the lesson, and then she would have me record me giving it to Alexi. And then the time that we had on virtual was me getting feedback from her about how I did. So it was hard.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what I was doing. And I was just taking notes when she was basically correcting me, and I was trying hard the next time. And then she was always encouraging, like, you're doing great. You're doing great. I just did not feel like I was doing great. It was nerve-wracking. Finally, she opened. When everyone was starting to open, she opened up her place. And it was great. It was like the spring of 2022. That's when she opened. So that was about a year after we had started.
Okay. So then that practitioner was around your area?
About 25 minutes away.
Okay.
Yep. So we could go, and we went once every other week.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that you shared that, and that your experience was that you guys were virtual, because I think it helps I have a lot of moms that are, starting out, and they may not be around anybody that's a practitioner around them.
Yeah.
And just for them to have an idea, of how things might go. And I feel like a lot of us might feel like we don't know what we're doing in the beginning, and it can be tough. And I can see how it can be. It was very challenging in the beginning because you were doing it virtually, but I feel like, I'm glad that she was encouraging, and I am pretty sure you were doing good, but because we get that way, and you feel like I'm not sure. Like I feel that still to the day. Like I'm not sure what I'm doing, but then I hear people telling me you're doing great, and I'm just like, okay. So it might be a mixture of you are actually doing great, but you just didn't feel it, and
It was hard not to do it in real time. That was
yeah,
really hard. But I think I'm glad I struggled through. I'm glad, even though I didn't feel like I knew what I was doing, she encouraged me enough for me to keep going, even though it
yeah,
felt like it was all wrong. It felt like it wasn't really happening. I was like, I so wanted to give up, but I just couldn't.
yeah.
Look, I just couldn't. I knew I just had to keep trying.
Yes. And that's encouraging. And so I'm thankful that you shared that, and I hope that, it will help someone that is going through that situation just to keep going, because you got to a point where she's actually able to communicate. She was
Good. Mm-hmm.
open.
Mm-hmm.
So how long then after that did she become open, and do you remember like what's the first thing that she spelled when she became an open speller?
So after having done this at home, we were finally able to go, and we went in, and the first 3 lessons, I was like, and I'm just trying to keep it together and believe and presume confidence, all the things they tell you. And then she did a lesson on the Pisa Tower in Italy. And this was about a year after we first started. And she was having a hard time with the sessions in person. It was brand new to her to be in person, to be in this woman's basement. And then she did this whole lesson about the Tower of Pisa and how it had lost a lot of support. They kept on kind of building the support up, and that they kept it leaning a little bit. And she said, why do you think they kept it leaning a little bit? And then it was an open question. And she answered, because so many tourists come to Pisa.
Wow.
So many tourists. And I'm just like, okay, now I've seen it. I've seen it with my own eyes. She spelled tourists wrong. I just, the disbelief kind of melted on that day. So that was, I think, the first time that I really believed that it was happening.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm always curious to know, like, what was the first thing, the open statement.
Yeah.
And so then I'm also curious to know, how did it feel, around that time, was there anything that she then shared personal to you and anybody in the family?
The next lesson after that was Mother's Day. And she said something about how my smile was like the sun. So it was lovely. And yeah, that was so soon after we started going in person. So I'm just watching in disbelief. And the feeling that I had, I can remember it was sort of like a melting inside of me. It was just the disbelief and it was like a feeling of melting.
Yeah.
Just watching and okay, this is happening.
Yes.
That's the feeling. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yes. Yeah, I can imagine that feeling. I've heard of, different versions of what you're saying from a lot of parents experiencing their non-speaker spell, openly for the first time. And that gets me excited and gives me hope for when my son.
Yeah, we actually I have one more little story, because we had her first story ever. And it was soon after that, we had a session with Lene Crandall, and she was like level 4. She was brought in to be at a hotel in New Jersey. We traveled to get there. I had met her once before. We sat down with her, and she started to do a story. She asked her to write a story based on a story that she had read her on YouTube. She showed her the story, explained everything. And she said, well, now it's your turn. You do a story. she wrote the story in front of me, and it was more than just melting. I'm like, I was like hyperventilating watching this thing. It was incredible. It was incredible to watch the story. And then it was dry. It was sarcastic. It was funny. And then the practitioner and I are cracking up. It was unreal.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I can totally imagine that. You guys are just like, wow. And, starting to see her personality come out.
Exactly. We have a lot of like humor in our house, and she's like probably the funniest.
Yeah.
Cracking me up. And Lene was cracking up. It was great. It was a great moment.
That's amazing. Oh, thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
So, yeah, I also wanted to know, like, how did it feel getting to know your daughter for the first time after so many years? She was how old when she became open?
Like, this was around when she was 16.
Yeah.
So her whole life, she was basically verbal. Like, you can hear her. She's talking. And we never knew there was more than what she was saying, obviously. So you think of her as, I always thought of her as 7, 8 years old. And then to see her write that story. And then she did math. The answers right after one after the other. Boom, boom, boom. It was incredible. I had a lump in my throat as she's doing the math. Because, I mean, she had never done anything other than like kindergarten math. And you're just reviewing it, ABA style. Everything that I'd been taught was flipping in that moment as I watched her. She got all the answers right. I'm just like, it wasn't a melting. It was more like a lump in my throat. Like, oh my God, now I have to change everything.
Yes.
I have to change everything. I changed in that moment, in that chair, in that hotel. And I went in the bathroom and I cried.
Yeah.
Happy tears.
Yes. Yes. I can imagine. Yeah. I can imagine like also feeling like you may have, did you feel that feeling of guilt, of having done things kind of underestimated her or?
Sure. Yeah, but it wasn't the first feeling. It was now I know what I have to do. It was a resolve feeling. How could I possibly have known? I couldn't.
Yeah.
And I also feel like some people might have that guilt. Maybe because I feel like in our family, we always kind of included her. We always kind of knew she was sort of in there a little bit. I treated her like she was 7, but I didn't treat her like she wasn't there. I kind of, we were always including her. She had her sister. She was a happy girl. She was 7. And then you find out she's not 7.
Yeah.
So I didn't have a overwhelming feeling of guilt. The feeling was more just, oh my God, now what am I going to do?
Mm-hmm.
Now, yes. She stepped out of herself and she was like taller and older.
Yes.
And looking at her like, okay, now what? And everything along our journey has been, okay, now what?
Yeah.
Things happen along the way. And it's not my style to sit and cry about the spilled milk. I'm like, well, now, okay, now this, okay, now that.
Yeah.
So similar to it, but a huge lump in my throat.
Yeah.
Just overwhelming, shaking hands in the bathroom, crying, just like, oh my God. It was just overwhelming.
Yes. I mean, you're like witnessing a miracle right there in front of you. And
right in front.
Yes.
Every answer she got, she was just doing the math like I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. So what are some things that she shared with you about her experience not being able to communicate for so long before spelling?
The main feeling is frustration. She's been frustrated. She's also told us that she's happy. We never knew if she was happy or not because her face is sometimes so non-responsive. To hear that this is a happy person, that our daughter is happy, it basically told us over and over again. So very frustrated. She definitely wants people to know what's going on with her, with the others. But overall, she's happy. So that was wonderful to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, yeah, I feel that myself. Like, it's just good to know that deep down your child is happy. I worry about that a lot.
Hmm.
And I feel a lot. My mother's intuition might sometimes, I'm hearing that sometimes, I don't know how to say it. I don't want to discredit my mother's intuition because I know it's always right, but sometimes we might kind of get some things wrong and wonder, you might think, oh, they're not happy when they actually are.
Yes, it's wonderful to be able to ask her now.
Yes, and now have
Uh,
be sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of the hugest reliefs.
Yes.
Okay, these noises that you're making, are you all right or are you upset? And she'll
Yes.
answer. Sometimes if she's like, I'll ask her if she's nervous or excited, going somewhere, excited. Oh, okay. And it makes me calmer to know that
Yes.
she's not upset.
Yes, because then you're not anxious, like, oh, I don't know, and yeah, and then you're sure, and then she feeds off of that, and she
Exactly.
stays
Exactly.
more regulated and calm.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a blessing.
Yep.
So, what advice would you give to parents who are thinking about starting spelling with their non-speakers, but are still a little bit on the fence?
I come across a lot of parents that are kind of on that fence. And I say to them, if you've ever had that tiny little moment where you think maybe, just maybe, that look in her eye is that she understood me, you have to trust that feeling that there could be more. And I say to a lot of people, it's a piece of plastic. There's no side effects. This is relatively inexpensive compared to that. I mean, so many things that I've heard of are $20,000 and you have to go to Arizona to do it. There's so many things that are much more drug related. It's drug free, it's side effect free. It's a piece of plastic, it's a piece of paper. DVD. And a lot of parents will say, but they know their alphabet, they know all this stuff already. And I'm like, there's a technique to this. And if you just give it a little time and you have to just, I hate to say presume competence because it's the perfect phrase. If you even just treat your child differently without even trying this, you'll see a change. Because the minute you look at them and you presume that they understand what you're saying, the changes can even come then. Why wouldn't you want to just experiment with just the way you imagine them, the way you see them? You don't have to try or spend a dime to just talk to them differently. And then if you can just imagine that they've looked at you that one time and they kind of gave you that little hint, I think it's worth trying. There's so many of them now.
Yes. Yes. Thank you for sharing that. And I hope that it will help a lot of, parents that are on the fence, take that step.
Yeah.
So we're down to your last question that I like to ask parents. What is something that Alexi has taught you about life?
To trust my gut more. There's been so many times along this road up until when she was 15, 16. You're trying different things and you're just not sure, and you're judging them based on their behavior. I was judging her based on her behavior. So there's definitely that. Nonverbal behavior is so hard to work against, but if you have in your gut that I got to do this, there's a million reasons not to trust the gut along the way, I guess what I'm saying. And she's basically taught me to just put that aside, presume that she's actually hearing me, because she says, I hear everything. How many times does she have to say, I hear everything before I actually believe her?
Yes. Yes.
So pushing through all the nonverbals that you've ever have had to deal with in your life. That's how you learn everything else. But then this is different. You can't trust that nonverbal reaction. You have to push forward and trust your gut. So that's kind of the main thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. I feel the same way. I feel like autism, non-speaking autism, has taught me to really trust my gut, because that's basically the only thing I have at this point to be able to connect with my child. And I guess, yeah, that's I can relate to that. And so thank you so much. So now we are at Alexi's part of this interview, and her answers have been recorded. And
I recorded them with a British accent.
well, that's
I
totally
didn't
fine.
mean to, but I couldn't find a way to do it until I found this one.
Yeah,
So we're not British, and she's not British, but I think
that's
um,
totally
I
fine. It will still
enjoy
be able to,
having a British accent for this part.
yes, we'll still be able to, hear her words. All right. So, Alexi, how has spelling impacted your quality of life?
So here, I'm going to make it louder. Here we go. One second, I'm sorry.
No worries.
Here we go. Yep, okay.
It has changed everything. I can tell what I want and what I hate and not have to hope someone like my mum or dad guesses right. I'm very happy now because I can tell my thinking and not just my great big ideas, but little things that are important too, like what shoes I like or what colour shirt I like, because before I might say the ones I did not want and everyone thought because I said it, I meant it.
Yeah. I'm so happy that you now have that, a way to communicate and tell the world, tell your parents what you really need and what you really want. I think that's something that a lot of us a lot of people are still learning, that sometimes what you might say is not what you really mean. And that spelling, being able to spell, is what brings, your actual thoughts out. So thank you so much for sharing that. What is something that you would like the world to know about you?
I am a girl and I have autism, but I still have hopes and dreams like every other person does.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a beautiful message, for people that may not be familiar with your diagnosis, and for them to know that you have hopes and dreams just like any other girl, and that, you deserve to do all the things just like anybody else and be treated just like any other girl. So thanks for sharing that. What would you say is the biggest misconception about non-speakers with autism?
I think the biggest misunderstanding is that we have no intelligence.
Yeah, that's a big one. And hopefully, from from you sharing your story, a lot of people will start to understand that that is very far from the truth, and that they have a lot to learn from you and others like you. Yeah. What are your thoughts about the people that are trying to discredit spelling as a viable means of communication?
I want them to lose the ability to communicate at all for one whole day, and then tell me I can't communicate in a way that finally is successful for me.
Wow. Very insightful. And I feel like it just brings, helps people have a different perspective to kind of put themselves in your shoes and reconsider, their stance, because it's not just you. There's a lot of people out there that are non-speakers that are finally able to communicate this way, and for people to still be trying to discredit it as a viable means of communication is just very unfortunate at this point. So thank you so much for your thoughts on this. Those are very powerful words, and I know that that will help a lot of people rethink their stance. Please share any advice for parents struggling to spell with their child.
Parents need to just know that their kid is smart and capable of hard things and should expect them to do the hard things and not give up and give them the excuse of autism and being afraid to upset them, because by giving up on them, you think they can't do it.
Yes, that is good advice, because a lot of parents, might, because of what they might have been told by professionals, might not presume that competence and not let their children do hard things, or believe that their children can do hard things. So I feel like that's really important advice, and it will help a lot of parents, you know, let their children um, be challenged a little bit, and to see and it will show them that their children are really capable of doing hard things. So thank you so much for sharing that. Is there anything else that you would like to add to this conversation?
I am happy that my words are being shared and might help someone who might get help to communicate, and then they can tell other people, and more people will get freedom from autism.
Yes, I'm happy too. And I'm very thankful that you're open to sharing your story, and that you have that passion to help others like you be able to communicate. I know that your words will help a lot of people, and um, that I'm just so thankful and also happy that you finally have your voice. I'm happy for you, and how that has opened up a whole new world for you. And I see a lot of the things that you're doing. It's amazing. And yeah, thank you so much for sharing.
So one of the things that Alexi's done is some live demonstrations for parents that are on the fence. I asked her if it was okay, if she was interested in doing it, and then we made the arrangement, and then the mom would come and she would sit in on the lesson, and then the mom could ask questions. And she did that for one mom, and then that mom said, I'm starting my son. Then we did it for her friend. She's starting her daughter. So my advice is Lexi's advice, which is you kind of have to see this in person.
Yeah.
Watch videos all day long, and you can imagine someone's moving the board or someone's doing something that you can catch. But there's no substitute for a live question and answer when they're looking at you, because Alexi will answer the question with the practitioner, and she'll look at that mom with that eye, with that look in her eye, and they cry.
Yeah.
So cry when they're watching it.
Yeah.
And so Alexi really wants to do that for a medical panel as well.
Yes.
So her doctor, because I tell her doctor, her dentist, her chiropractor, her neurologist, all the things that are going on, and I'm like, come on, let's do a live panel. That's what she wants.
Yeah.
Really does want to help. But the parents who are on the fence, if they go see it in person, with if it's possible, or even do a Q&A online, a virtual Q&A, if they can finish that with a friend.
Yes.
There's enough of us now in Stellar's community where you can ask, can I watch this before I decide to plunk down money for the first session or something like that? Someone's going to say yes.
Yes.
Someone's going to do it for them.
Yes. That is brilliant. And I love that she's been able to do that, and already, start to have others start spelling that way. That is an amazing way to help people believe or understand what's going on.
Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Once you feel it, you have to feel it. And the only way you can do that is having your question answered.
Yeah, I love that. And I hope that the parents that are on the fence will take the opportunity, if it's happening around their area. I know they do like spellers viewing for the movie, and then they will do like a Q&A. A lot of the parents that I've interviewed, that's how they got into spelling. They were like, I saw it in person and I just could not, I could not deny it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. I know that's going to change a lot of people's lives, that idea.
That ties into also people come to watch Alexi dance.
Oh, yes. Yes, so, I wanted to talk about her dancing. Can you just share a little bit about, her story with dancing, how it started, how it's helping her?
Lexi, is that all right? Can I talk about dancing? Yes or no? Yes? Yeah. So she used to do gymnastics years ago. And then when she got old enough, they all just stopped having these gymnastics for her. And as the kids get older and older, their childhood activities kind of fall away. And then during the pandemic, there was a ballroom group that used to meet, and they stopped doing it. And so I kind of got frustrated. My husband actually said, why don't you see if that local Fred Astaire has private lessons for her? So I was like, well, that's an idea, because we used to do privates for gymnastics, and I hadn't thought of doing privates for ballroom. So I called the guy, or I emailed the guy, and he said he'd be open to doing a trial for her. So we did the trial, and I didn't know that he had a sibling, a brother who was about 53 at the time with autism back in the UK. So I was like, well, this is like unbelievable. This is kind of a cool thing. Maybe he's going to be super comfortable with her. And they had their first lesson, and it was just very simple stuff. And then I said, is it okay? Can we come back? And so we bought 5 sessions. And little by little by little, I was explaining to him how she communicates. And she was having like a problem one day. So I gave the letterboard and I said, is it too bright in here? Can you hit yes or no? So we basically lowered the lights, and she stopped being dysregulated. He was like, wow, that's weird. So little by little, he got used to us. We got used to him. And she loves it. She loves it. She loves it. And she loves an audience. And she keeps getting better and better. And for a while, I was posting on Facebook each lesson, lesson 1, lesson 2. We bought 5 more. We bought 5 more. And she's been doing it now for over a year. And she just loves it. I will call her from anywhere in the house and say, it's time to go. And she comes. I don't have to ask her twice. She asked for a Christmas present. She asked for green shoes. I wasn't at that session. My husband was. And she wanted green dance shoes. So for Christmas, she got green dance shoes, and she hasn't worn the other ones since. She's advocating for what shoes she wants. She advocates for the dancing, the lighting in the room. And we have to do privates, because if someone else is in that room and they're laughing, sometimes that sets her off. So he has a pocket of time on Tuesdays. We have the studio to ourselves, and she loves it. She loves looking at herself in the mirror. Yeah. And sometimes we have like a guest that comes and watches, and she just loves that. So it's almost like watching spelling. And there's a cool thing, because the dance teacher learned so much about letterboarding from just us being in the lessons. They're only like 40 minutes. And he has started to see changes in his brother in the UK, because he started talking to him the way I talk to Alexi, with presumption. And then his brother, they're not letterboarding, they're just talking to each other over the phone. And his brother started texting him, complaining about their mom. He said, my brother changed the way he saw me because I communicated differently to him. So it's this thing where he just started talking to his brother differently. And next thing you know, his brother's complaining about the mom, jokingly, oh, she's on my case today. Where he's like, this is so crazy. And then he'll even like call his mom to talk about things, and she'll update him on his brother. And he's like, I know that already. And she's like, how do you know? Yeah. And he's like, he texted me. He just started communicating to his brother without one letterboarding session. Just the talking, just the presuming differently. Yes. Imagining that he's actually 53 in there.
Yes. Wow.
So, yeah.
That is absolutely amazing. I mean, just see how her story, being able to, just the dancing, you were able to influence him to, he learned a lot about letterboarding without even, really talking about letterboarding. And here he is being able to presume competence with his brother, and, seeing a change in their relationship. That is amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. That story is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And Alexi, I love seeing you dancing. I can't even dance like that. And it's just like amazing just seeing you flow, and you just you look happy doing it, and it's just beautiful, and I love seeing it. I wish I could see you dance in person.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, but I love seeing the videos.
Thanks.
So thank you so much for sharing that story. It is amazing. It's just goes to show that, just having a relationship with people, and showing, just for them seeing how how she's doing and how she feels, being treated the way it's supposed to be, can impact other people's lives like that.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. Thank you so much. And thank you for being willing to share your story. And I could not wait to do this interview with you guys. And I've loved getting to know you guys better, more. And I will continue to follow along with your story. And yeah, just so thankful. I know your story is going to help a lot of people.
I hope so. I
Yes.
think that what you're doing is tremendous, and it's quite a library that you have.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Fantastic service for the parents that are on the fence.
Yes.
And also for everyone that people are sharing this with.
Yes.
It's building the tsunami, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you haven't yet, please consider subscribing to the channel so you can get notified whenever I post new episodes. Until next time.